Good morning, everybody. I'm coming at you from beneath the lemon tree, my favorite part of this land, right next to the water cistern, which is going to be transformed into hopefully a beautiful splash pool, patio, awesome hangout area. I've already done loads of work on this water tank from when I arrived on the land 2 years ago. And so this video is going to be slightly different, where I travel back in time almost exactly 1 year to when I started working on the water tank. It looked drastically different then to what it does right now. I've done loads and loads of work, and I'll have at least 2 videos, maybe 3, where we go back and I show you all that work. I filmed it all, but I didn't put it together into videos back then because my intention was to do a whole series on it. And this, I guess, will be the series. So I'm planning on getting in there today and continuing with pushing the work forward. So I'd like to share that with you more in real time. So we'll go back in time, I'll show you what I've done, and then we'll catch up to present day and push forward on this project. I'm really excited to have a splash pool this year. I feel like it's almost essential. Last year I nearly perished in the heat, and having a little splash pool will definitely be a game changer. Plus, having a water tank that doesn't leak is just good for water security. It's just good to have a water tank that doesn't leak. So let's just get into this video. Back in time, like I said, 1 year, and then we're just gonna catch up to today. So I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll see you at the end. So here we are in the water tank. Well, not in it just yet, but going in. You can see there's loads and loads of gunk in there. I'm about to get in there in my flip-flops. Not massively looking forward to it, but I'm looking forward to finishing the job. So you can see the water flows reasonably quickly. It's coming out of that hole over there. And so I need to find a way to catch the water from over there and steer it straight out of the hole that's on the side of the tank. Ah, in amongst the lemons. But first, I get to shovel the gunk out of the tank, which I'm really not looking forward to. But it's gotta be done. Ooh, it's cold and it's very gross. Not really sure the best place to put this. So this is what I'm dealing with. This is where the water comes from. This is the hole of mystery. Don't know what lurks within here. Probably creatures and things. So here's my issue. You can see the water just sort of flows down a slope. So what I'm going to do is get my angle grinder and cut the stone so there's a lip. And then that will mean the water will just fall off like that, and hopefully I can then put some sort of a bottle or something under the lip, catch the water. The bottle will be attached to a hose, and so instead of the water flowing through all the cracks like it does now and out this hole here, the water will instead go into the bottle, go through the pipe that's attached to the bottle, and I'll put the pipe end in this hole. And in theory, the water should never touch the tank, and that means I can work on the tank. That's the idea. I've got a bit more cleaning to do. Well, I've got a lot more cleaning to do. And then I'm going to put that theory to the test. And so lucky me, not only do I get to shovel out the gunk from the bottom, I also get to scrub the green stuff off of the sides, which will probably take a while. So this pipe comes from the IBC tank just above here, so it's not a huge amount of gravity pressure, but I think it's good enough to steer some of the gunk through the hole. I'm a bit concerned about clogging the pipes, but I actually think they're clogged already, so I'm hoping the gunk just goes straight out. There's a closed pipe just right there. I'm not really happy with the way these pipes were laid. A lot of them are buried, the important sections where there's junctions, they're buried under concrete. They've just tossed a whole bunch of concrete on there, I guess to protect them, but I need to see what's happening. If it's clogged, I need to be able to take those apart. So I'll probably redo them with the push-fit plastic things and not necessarily bury the important parts, but maybe protect them in some other way. And I don't even know how to unclog a pipe. The length of the pipe is long, and I think the clog is sort of somewhere down, and I have no idea where. I'm hoping magically it'll unclog. That's happened before, where it's clogged up and then mysteriously unclogged, so I'm gonna go with that. That's my strategy. Hope for the best. But for now, I'm just gonna spray a bunch of crap through this hole, and hopefully it doesn't clog up. I hope you like my shirt. One thing about living this sort of life is, I don't know, you sort of prioritize where your money goes, and work clothes aren't really a priority because, you know, who's really going to see them when I'm working at my own place? And then I go and start a YouTube channel, and many people see it, so I feel some shame, but sewing is not one of my skills. So the wardrobe could use some work, I suppose, but that's a very low priority. Never really cared about clothes, which I think is quite obvious. Shoveled the big stuff out, I've sprayed some stuff away, but I actually have to be quite conscious of how much water I'm using because it's coming from this tank up here, and that's the tank I use also to water my garden. So because I'll be repairing the tank, this tank won't refill, and then I won't be able to pump up to that tank. So I have to be quite aware of how much water I'm using. So instead of just spraying with reckless abandon with this hose, I'm gonna stop for now. I'm gonna try to angle grind the stone, see if I can steer the water away and let it dry a bit, and then that'll let me see where the problem areas are, and then go from there, maybe. I can also start hitting the sides with the wire brush and just scrape as much off as I can. I was trying to blast it off with the water, but that's a huge waste of water, so I'm gonna scrub it off. I'll get a bucket of water and my wire brush, and I'll scrub it off as much as I can, and then I'll come back with the hose and give it a final spray, and hopefully that gets all the green crap off. So I'm just gonna get to it. I've got my angle grinder, I've got my safety gear, and yeah, this is a very handy tool, and it's intimidated me for a very long time, but it's incredibly useful. So I've got a diamond cutter thingamajiggy on here, and that goes through stone, and I'm a little nervous because it's sort of just hacking away at the stone that's sort of right at the water source. I can't think of what might go wrong, but it's just one of these things. It's like I'm making cuts on something that's not really repairable. Once the stone is cut, the stone is cut. That's it. I'm going to try to approach it in a really slow and steady way. I don't think I need to cut off very much. I just need a really tiny overhang to sort of slip the edge of a bottle under. You can see here I've made a cut in this bottle to create sort of a little lip that will catch the water, but because of the way the slope of the rock is, I can't really get it under to catch all of the water, so I need to kind of make it so it's a little bit more of a kind of a waterfall, like a direct uppy downy waterfall, that I can then put the bottle underneath and catch all of the water, or at least most of it. I'm quite curious about how this is going to work. It all sort of makes sense in my head. I can't think of anything that might go horribly wrong, except for maybe the rocks shattering into a million pieces and the entire water mine collapsing. But I don't think that's possible. Surely it's not possible. I'm just making a couple tiny cuts to be able to stick this bottle underneath and catch the water. So I just need to be slow and steady make a couple small cuts, observe what the water is doing, and then go from there. As an aside, this chocolate milk, all other chocolate milks are inferior. This stuff is amazing, especially when you can get the 50% larger size. That's all. That's your advertisement for chocolate milk. Okay, let's give this a try. Okay, that was a little bit trickier than I anticipated, but I think that once I hook a pipe up to this, the pipe can carry it all the way to that hole over there. And the tank can dry out, I think. So what I've done is sort of channeled the water into one spot as best I could. I think I could possibly do a bit more work over there. And then it made a little lip, which I can stick the bottle under and catch the water. And so I'm going to grab a pipe, a length of pipe, somehow hook it up to that bottle, probably with lots of tape, and see how this works. Very sadly, the bottle from the very delicious chocolate milk is too big to go in the pipe. So I shall instead employ the use of Coke Zero. Hopefully this works. Get under there. There we go. And now I just need to cut the pipe to length. And hopefully this all works. Okay, so it's not working exactly how I had envisioned because as the water goes in the bottle, I think some of it wants to go back out because of the angle. I really should have cut the waterfall part up a bit higher so I could have the bottle on a sharper angle. I might still do that, but I'm going to just see what this does. I'm going to observe for the day, see if the water tank dries out a bit, and if it doesn't, I'll come up with another plan tomorrow. But I think the water's flowing. Yeah, it's hard to say also if the pipe isn't at enough of an angle to take the water away. Yeah, I probably should have thought of that. Cut the waterfall higher. Anyway, I'm gonna observe, see what happens. Hopefully it's okay. All I really need for now is for this part to dry out so that I can chuck a bunch of concrete, well, lime in there and try to seal up the most obvious hole. Also over here, yeah, so if I can get these parts to dry out, you can see the water's still flowing quite a bit, so I don't know if I've succeeded in my mission, but I'm sick of it now, so I'm gonna just scrub the tank, give it a clean, and see where I'm at after that. Okay, so for now, I'm forgetting about my low-tech solution that isn't working, and I've gone with an even lower-tech solution, which is to mound up a bunch of dirt, scuzzy pond scum around this area, which is where I need to chuck a bunch of lime into. And it looks like the scuzz is directing the water around this bit and over into there. So I'll just get that last little bit of water out somehow, and I guess I'll try to clean it off as best I can. And then I'm gonna basically fill it in. It's not going the way I'd planned, but I think it'll be okay. And once I get this part done, I'll probably let it cure and fill the tank up again. And then when I tackle the tank one more time, it'll be to build a basin around this and walls for a sort of swimming pool type thing. So whenever I start working on this part, I'll definitely need to have the water cleared away from here, and I'll need to figure out this bottle solution so that it actually works. Okay, so I've chucked a bunch of lime into the hole. And what I'll be monitoring is whether or not this dries out. This is sort of where the water leaks out. And so if this is dry tomorrow, I'll be very, very happy. It means I've stopped the leak. I'm gonna pull out some plants. I'm gonna leave this guy for now. I'll try to get the ones that are sort of closer to the bottom and around there. And I might take out some of the lilies as well. And that's only so I have kind of a space to work. I want to put some bricks down. You can see a few bricks over there. I want to lay a few in here. So I'm going to scrub out all this algae on the sides. I'm going to sweep out the water. I'm going to scrub the bottom. And then I guess I'm going to try to lay some bricks. I need to decide how big my future swimming pool will be. So the splash pool will be coming kind of out here in sort of a square or in some more interesting shape if I can figure out how to do that. But I'm also going to have a little separate basin just around the spring, so I can keep the water sources sort of separate. Basically though, today I want to put down a couple of bricks, maybe just 3 bricks or something coming out, so I can kind of define where I'm going to put my splash pool. And I think just taking that step will make the whole thing a little bit less sort of intimidating. I feel quite apprehensive about this whole thing. Getting this water tank right will really make my life easier later on. And so I want to do it well, and I want to make sure I plan it well as well. Plan it well as well. At least if I can lay some bricks down now, it'll sort of define the edge, one of the edges of the pool, and that's one decision off my list. And, you know, it's been actually a lot of hard work so far, even just doing this little bit of lime plugging that hole there, but I feel kind of motivated just to continue. So I'll mix up another little batch of mortar, and then I think I'll be out of sand, so I won't be able to do any more, and I might even be out of bricks after that too. So I don't know. I'm gonna lay them down, assess, and then probably go take a nap. This is hard work. So I haven't given it a huge amount of thought just yet, but I'm thinking that this will be my sort of pool area. And maybe here I'll do some sort of a deck, like a little wooden deck, so you can sort of hang out here a little bit. And maybe that's sort of connected to the start of the stairs somehow. Try to keep the lilies for as long as I can without them being in the way. So maybe I put the splash pool bit just up to here. Oh, hello again, arm. Yeah, so I don't know, but I think the patio area for the splash pool is a very long way off into the distance. But I'm hoping the splash pool part, I should really prioritize that because it's so hot in the summer, and just being able to jump into some water, even if I'm just like working and then jump in and then jump back out, it just feels invigorating. Just in your clothes, and you work as they dry, the wind sort of cools you off for a bit, and jump in again, and you can kind of like live like a normal person. Otherwise it's just like me laying in bed with the fan on my face from like 2 until 6 p.m. every day from, you know, in August for sure, and sometimes July to September. So if I have a splash pool, maybe I don't need to be a zombie in the afternoons during that hot period. And also it's just nice to, even when I'm not working, sit in the pool, sip a cocktail. Yeah, it is for enjoying, and I will enjoy a splash pool. But right now, with the state of this place, a splash pool looks like it's a long way off. I don't yet have a definite plan for what I'm doing with this splash pool basin sort of situation, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to maybe make the pool about 1.5 meters wide, coming out to sort of here. So I'll lay a brick this way, and then create a little basin sort of coming off one wall of the splash pool and kind of just going in around there to separate the spring out. You can see it's pretty funky down there with all the holes in the rocks. This will actually fill up to this level, and what happens, I think, is the water then sort of seeps back into the hill. So it won't rise kind of all the way up here. It'll sort of, yeah, go to some certain level, and then it just disappears into the hill. So, but it will go up to this height when it's flowing quickly and when the tank doesn't leak. Anyway, I'm going to just scrub some stuff and think about splash pools. I've mixed up a batch of mortar. It's this HL5 lime stuff, and this one I've done just with sand because I'm going to use it to lay some bricks. Anyone who's a bricklayer will notice that I'm going to be laying the bricks upside down. Normally you would lay the brick, I think, so that this part is down. But my thinking is that if I do that, there's going to be a whole bunch of air gaps in these bricks. And because it's holding water, I'd kind of just rather ram it full of lime and not have air gaps in there, so that there's less opportunity for the water to sneak through. So I'm gonna lay them the other way around, and I'm gonna fill these up with lime. Now, that's probably a waste of materials, and maybe it's completely unnecessary, because really what should be holding the water in is the final render that I put on. But I feel like it wouldn't hurt. If you have any info or insight or whatever onto whether the way I'm doing things is completely, totally screwy, or if it'll work okay, or what the reasons are for not doing it this way, I would happily hear them. So I'm putting this on a nice big thick bed of mortar, just because it just seems like the right thing to do. And now I'm going to waste a whole bunch of mortar by sticking it in this hole, which really does seem like a waste, but I don't know. I'm doing it. Tricky to tell level on these things because it's not flat at the top, which might be one reason that you do it the other way. But I don't think it needs to be perfect. But it should be way more level than I have it now. So. That'll do. It's not ideal, but it's not terrible. Definitely unconventional in my bricklaying skills, or skills. Something to work on for sure. Oh man, what a day. That's not what I was expecting to work on. I'd really hoped to be in the garden. But instead of being in the garden, I've actually rendered my water tank unusable for 3 days and probably shouldn't plant stuff in the garden, so maybe I should have thought that through a bit more. What I'm worried about is that I can't pump water up to this tank up here if this tank down here doesn't fill with water. And I can't fill it with water until all this stuff has time to cure, which I think is 3 days. I don't know, we'll see. I'll check it tomorrow. Hopefully it looks like it's getting harder. And I'll just keep checking it every day, and hopefully in 3 days or so the tank is okay to fill up, and hopefully, even more importantly, it actually holds the water. Because another risky thing I did, so where this patch is here, this was actually quite a lot deeper than the rest of the tank, and in order for my water pump to actually pump, it has to be sitting in a minimum amount of water. And if this doesn't solve my problem, that means that the water pump won't have that little sort of cavity thing to sit in, which means I'm kind of screwed. Another thing I should have thought of before, but really, you have to take risks in life, you know? And I don't know, I'll figure it out. I have quite a bit of water around the place to keep me going, so I could probably be out of commission on the tank for a couple of weeks. So if this doesn't work, I do have time to kind of come up with some other solution. So I'm only medium worried. So what I did today doesn't seem like a lot, but holy smokes, I'm absolutely exhausted. I think it's mixing lime by hand. First thing I did was attempt to make a little waterfall thing in order to steer the water out of the tank. Waterfall made successfully, however, it's too low, and so I don't have enough tilt on the bottle I was using to catch the water, and so the water wants to run back out of the end of the bottle. Not ideal. So that was a failure. I think with a bit of tweaking I can make it work though. However, an even more low-tech solution is just piling mud around the area I was working. So you can see there's a little bit of, you know, water pooling on here, and I've got these sponges here to try to catch some of it, but most of it's going around the weird pond scum stuff. And I've been able to really pack this with lime. Quite a bit went in there. It was a giant hole. It also sort of went underneath the tank, and I tried my best to just really get it in. I hope it solves my problem. I can probably tell by looking over here to see how wet it gets. It's sort of difficult to tell now because I filled it up with dirt, but I might dig down there later and see what's happening. It's also going to be difficult to tell if it's working because there's no water in this tank for it to be leaking out. It's basically just draining through that hole down the pipes. So until I really fill the water tank up again, I won't know for sure whether this has solved the leaking problem. There are some other leaky area bits. I think this part here could probably use some attention as well. But I ran out of mix. I ended up using it all on that, and I didn't have enough for that. So I'll address it another day. And so another task I did is I cut this in half, and I laid one full brick and one half brick to be the beginnings of the edge wall of my splash pool. I don't know how far I'll go out, but yeah, I'd say a fair distance. Why not make it big? And then I'm gonna kind of come up at a bit, and then I'm gonna run another wall sort of out to there, and then catch the spring water separately. Workday over. I'm done. I've had I've had enough. I think it's like 4 o'clock, and I feel like I've done a good day of work. I'm really excited to have that patch in the bottom of the tank, and I'm kind of also excited to have laid those bricks. I'm less excited about this. I wish that would have worked, but not the end of the world. It's been a hard day, but I think a really good one. I feel good. I feel dirty. My feet are wet. I feel pretty gross, but to me that's the sign of a good day in the office / water tank. So that's a wrap on video number 1 about all of the work I've done so far on the water tank. I apologize in advance to anybody out there who is a bricklayer or works with concrete. I know my methods are very unorthodox, but so far it seems to be working okay for me. and we'll see how this project goes pushing forward. So I'm excited to share everything I've done with you already last year, and I'm even more excited to get back in the water tank and push on with the project. So if you have any questions or comments, have any advice for me, just want to say hello, please do leave me a message in the comments. As always, thanks for watching my videos, and I'll see you in the next one.